Yeah, so Michael Mania on Jets X Factor does a brilliant job each week of breaking down every pass that Zac Wilson makes, and he does it with the video, and he grades it. And I got to say, I'm watching the ones against Denver, and the kid clearly has arm talent and mobility. The things that are a little disturbing are, one, he doesn't always see the field well. There are a couple passes where he makes offensive line look worse than it was. He actually had a clean pocket, and he's holding the ball too long, or he's hesitating. There was one pass in particular to Tyler Conklin where he double clutches. Conklin was as open as you can be right in front of him. There was no reason to double clutch. And even though Conklin caught it, he could have had a lot of yards after the catch. Mania surmises that Zac is playing afraid, which very well could be the case. And I might put some of the blame on the coaching staff for this. And this is what could be getting a guy like Elijah Moore very frustrated. There are multiple times in this game where there are receivers open and Zac is either not seeing it or he's getting too flustered too quickly and not standing his ground in the pocket. There's one play in particular with Barrios where he just makes a horrible throw. If he had seen Wilson's route, Garrett Wilson, who was underneath, he could have made a much better decision. There's another one where he has Barrios and Mims 10 yards further than Barrios on an out pattern when he's actually leaves the pocket, makes a good decision, and he's rolling to his right, and he just doesn't pull the trigger to either Barrios or Mims. And he ends up doing some fakakta play and throws it across his body before he steps out of bounds. It could have been an interception. There was at least 3 or 4 times where he clearly avoided major disaster by luck, whether it was Simmons dropping an interception, being called down before he fumbled the ball, throwing ill-advised passes. So there's a hesitation, a fear factor that they need to have Zac Wilson crack. They need to have him fight through that. And I think that letting him loose a little more is what they need to do. They need to say, Zac, it's okay. Make your throws. There were also a couple of passes where to Mims and Garrett Wilson where he threw late, and Braxton Berrios. So just to sum up here, so hesitation to pull the trigger, and also hesitation to stay in the pocket. Especially, and Mania brings up this point from X Factor, that with all the soft roughing the passer calls now, quarterbacks should have more confidence than ever staying in the pocket and standing their ground and throwing with proper technique, and throwing through the ball as opposed to drifting away. So Zac is not doing that a lot. He's fading away from pressure. When he does roll out, he's not pulling the trigger. I don't know. I know it's only been 4 games back. Maybe he's still getting on the same page with his receivers. But there are a lot of times where it seems like either Zac or the receiver is a little confused on the route. I bring up the Berrios almost interception play where we got lucky, and it was called as an interference call against their guy. But Berrios was breaking inside. The pass was to the outside. We got very lucky on that interference call. And Justin Simmons dropping a gimme interception. So I don't know who was missing the read on that one. The other thing is Zac's got to stay composed, and when he does look away and then throw to the other side of the field, in other words, holding linebackers or safeties in their place and then being able to give his receivers underneath more space, he does well, but he doesn't do that enough. So it makes me feel like he's playing afraid. He's hesitating, and he needs to get on the same page with his receivers. This will be a good week this week. It'll be a good test because I think the offensive line did better than I gave him credit for, including Obuhi. Lakin did not have a great game in pass protection. He missed some key blocks on blitzes. And Dwayne did get beat a few times, but it wasn't as bad as I thought. So yeah, run the ball. I'm glad Robinson's there, but Zac really does need to step up. There are a lot of plays in that Denver game that were on him. It wasn't because Denver's pass defense was the best in the world. It wasn't because their receivers messed up. It wasn't because of bad protection. It was on Zac. At least 4 or 5 of those pass plays that didn't succeed. And a couple that did succeed that could have even succeeded more. So he needs to step up. That's my analysis.